What's up, everyone? It's Q from Retro Q Game, and Happy New Year! It's the first of the first, 2017, straight up early in the morning. And unfortunately, I'm off to a bit of a bad start. I've been meaning to make this video the last couple of days. I think it was maybe Thursday or so that this actually came to light, but I never got around to it. I was really sick. It was the end of the year. Blah blah blah. Excuses, excuses. But as you probably surmised by the name of the video, Nintendo and their awkward, horrible account systems have struck again. Now, I'm always one of the more vocal people, you'll know that, when it comes to Nintendo's account problems, being it, say, transferring accounts, like the account systems, the whole lack of virtual console, whatever you want to call it, like a account continuity, despite them making a big deal out of being able to link your accounts into one linked account, yet it offering no actual benefit. So that's that's only some of the issue, but the issue, or a similar issue I should say, regarding Nintendo's absolutely mind-boggling archaic policies has reared its ugly head yet again. Now, it hasn't done it personally for me, but it's done it for a good friend of mine. So, originally, let's go back a couple of years, okay? The Wii U launched end of 2012. I'd say probably 6 to 8 months later, my friend bought a brand new Wii U. So he would have bought it within a year after release. Now, about a year after he bought the Wii U, he actually got rid of it. For the simple reason is he never played it. I think he had like 2 games on it at the time, and he just didn't want anything to do with it. He had like, I think, 2 games and I think maybe 2 virtual console games, and that was it. He had no reason to play it. There was nothing he was looking forward to except for the odd maybe like 1 game a year. And he said, okay, I'm gonna buy one a couple of years from now, possibly when it's cheaper. But I've racked up a whole rake of games that I can buy over the next couple of years, or that will have been released over the next couple of years, and I'll be finally able to play. So naturally, because he had his own brand new Wii U that he was probably originally never planning on getting rid of, he signed in with his Nintendo Network ID, which, is completely understandable. Now, I'll kind of sidestep for 1 second here. This is the same Nintendo ID that he used on his 3DS, and when Nintendo finally announced the actual, what's the word I'm looking for? I use it all the time in my other videos. The account system, the unified account system, that's it. When Nintendo finally made a big deal and offered the unified account system, despite offering no benefits to the unified account system, he used his original Wii, because he still had his Wii U at the time, I believe. He used his Wii U profile and merged that with his 3DS profile, which were basically essentially the same thing. So that was all well and good. Now, let's fast forward to the end of 2016. As I said, this happened a few days ago, so that's where we're looking at, the end of 2016, end of December. So he got another Wii U. He got a pre-owned Wii U. This was offered. He found it somewhere pretty much dirt cheap. So he was like, okay, you know what? This is almost too good to pass up. He premium Wii U. I think it was like 5 games for 120 euros. So he was like, okay, this is a good deal. I'm picking this up, because he'd been meaning to pick up a Wii U again. Like I said, because he's been buying games over the last few years for the Wii U, so that he'd have something to play when he eventually got around to getting it. So he gets home, he turns on the Wii U, formats it, does all the usual, changes the settings to how he wants. Then he has to make a profile. So he goes to log in with his Nintendo Network ID, the same one he already has, the same one he had on his previous console, that yes, he did format off before he got rid of his original one. And what does it say? This Nintendo Network ID is already linked to another console. So he has to set up a brand new account with a brand new Nintendo Network ID just to have an account on his Wii U. I know, it's absolutely mind-boggling. Now, of course, this just automatically triggered it back in my mind of what this actually does. So The way Nintendo have this set up, with the exception of moving your account from a regular 3DS to a new Nintendo 3DS, which you can only do once easily, by the way, with the whole preparing the system, putting it onto the card, then transferring it over. That can only be done once easily. There's a different way that has to be done a separate time. So this just reminded me that there was a similar way of doing it on the Wii U, and it was just as absolutely fucking retarded. So the way it's done for a Wii U is, if because he can now no longer use that profile, his old original profile, on a Wii U, on his new Wii U, he no longer has access to anything he bought digitally, be it DLC, virtual console games, or just digital games. Now, like I said, I'm pretty sure he only had a couple of virtual console games. I don't think he had any DLC or digital games on there, so he didn't lose too much about it. But the main way he would have had to go about this is he would have had to, in theory, send his old Wii U and his new Wii U to Nintendo. And they would do whatever kind of magic or whatever kind of crazy shit they do. And they would unlink it from the serial number, because it's based on the serial number of your console, or some sort of internal thing that's linked to the serial number of your console. And they would unlink it from one and then link it to the other and then send both of them back to him. Now, obviously, that's not an option for him, because as any sane person would have done in the situation he was in, when he got rid of his old Wii U, that's what he did. So that's why he doesn't have the option to do this, and he shouldn't need the option to do this. And because of all that, now when he gets a Nintendo Switch, which he is planning on getting, it just he's no idea how he can use these accounts now. So there's a unified Nintendo account system. Okay, so he now has two different Nintendo accounts. He has the one on his 3DS, which is also the one on his old original Wii U that he cannot use on his new Wii U. And there's the one that he now has on his Wii U. So, which one is he going to put on his Switch? Now, I'm sure chances are there's a very good option, or very good chance, that the Nintendo Switch will not really offer too much. I won't say backwards compatibility wise, it won't offer too much features or anything like that compared to anything bought on using the account on the Switch versus stuff it's quote importing unquote from the 3DS or Wii U side of the account, or even the Wii side, since that's technically linked in the same way. So now he's at a point where if he does buy anything on his new Wii U account, it will always and forever be separately on a separate account from his, what is essentially his 3DS account now. So Nintendo, what the fuck? Any other console manufacturer or anything like that, the 360, the PS3, the PS4, the PS Vita, and the Xbox One, you can just log in. If you sell your console or lose it or it breaks or whatever, you can just get a new console or a separate pre-owned console using your same account information. Just log in and you have access to all your original stuff that you had. Licenses pending, of course. We all know some games get removed, but 99% of the time you're going to have access to 99% of the content, which is how it should be. You log in with your account that you've used to pay for these things, and you have access to them. You just re-download them and away you go. Sure, sometimes there are one or two stipulations where you have to be connected to the internet using said account to play it, but when you look at the Xbox One and the PS4, they're currently always online consoles as it is. Chances are, hell, even 99% of the people who play Wii U, even though they may not go online the whole time, chances are they have it connected to their Wi-Fi, or they have a USB to Ethernet adapter with the Ethernet cable just plugged in the back. So still, technically, it is connected to the internet, and it would validate your licenses. So this is all just fucking stupid, and I have no idea what Nintendo were doing. And it really worries me, again, for the Switch and the portable nature of the Switch, and again, what's going to happen to my friend's copy and my friend's account system and all as well. There is one other kind of mind-boggling thing that's also kind of crippling him in some aspects, which I'll talk about now as well. So this other thing that is, again, kind of mind-bogglingly stupid, albeit there is this kind of a simple workaround, but it's not the point given the fact that it's 2012 onwards technology. This kind of thing could also have been patched out much further down the line too, but once again, unfortunately, it reeks of Nintendo. So my friend, well, obviously we live in Ireland, and he bought this pre-owned Wii U. Now the guy he bought it from is English, okay? He bought the Wii U in Ireland, but because when he was setting up the account and all that, he just set it to, because of the account style system and all, he set it to a UK account. Now, when my friend got the Wii U, this other guy's account was still on it. So what he was doing is, at first he couldn't make an Irish account. My friend couldn't make an Irish account because the Wii U was set to England. So he had to change the region of the Wii U from England to Ireland so my friend could make the account. Now, while the Wii U is in Ireland mode, this other guy's account cannot be logged into. Now, you could argue, it basically disabled the other guy's account under those settings. Now, this isn't the issue. It's not so my friend can leech off some other dude's account or anything like that. What is the issue in my friend's case is my friend frequently travels between Ireland and the UK. He usually brings consoles with him. Usually it's either an Xbox 360 or a PlayStation 4. He doesn't bring his Xbox One generally because of the size of it. But he could now, because he has a Wii U and he has a crap load of games for his Wii U, he could bring his Wii U and possibly play online games with some of us some of the whole time, because I have a Wii U, some of my other friends have Wii U's, and we generally have the same kind of games between us now. But here's where the other thing comes in. So if he does bring this Wii U across to the UK, he cannot use his current Irish Wii U account, which means he would have to set the console region to the UK, to the English mode, and then he would have to create another separate English account on the Wii U. So he would have two separate accounts on his Wii U. Meanwhile, neither of which is his original Nintendo Network ID, because Nintendo. So just to play with us, he would have to have an UK English-based account while the console is set to the UK English region. Meaning, if he buys any virtual console, digital games, or DLC on his Irish account, because he lives here in Ireland, he's over in the UK maybe for a week, maybe less than a week every month, so naturally it would make more sense to use his primary account. If he buys anything on that primary Irish account, when he's in the UK, if he wants to play that, with us or something like that, like if it's Mario Kart DLC or whatever, he can't do that because he has to log in with a separate account that's not registered for. What the fuck, Nintendo? That's all I can say. This kind of thing is mind-blowing. It's the kind of thing that was resolved on every other platform in like 2006 to maybe 2007. And Nintendo released a console in 2012 that still has these problems we'll call it 5 years later, because it's now 2017, remember that. 5 years later, and it still has these types of problems that could have not been addressed or fixed or offered a proper workaround. There shouldn't even need to be one, or just patched out. It's absolutely fucking mind-blowing. It's pure Nintendo, unfortunately. We all know their account management and account systems, just in general, are always terrible, and unfortunately, they've always been terrible. And it makes me wonder what the fuck they're at. And it gets me a little bit worried about what we'll see with the accounts system and the benefits to the unified account style on the Switch. I don't think there'll be any, but you get the idea. So let me know in the comments section below anyway, because I've had issues with this back when I was working in GameStop as well, where people came in with new 3D... not new Nintendo 3DSs, but they came in with new 3DSs after having broken ones or whatever, and there was always issues trying to explain it to them. I was like, well, listen, yes, I know it's absolutely retarded that Nintendo are doing this, but there's nothing I can do about it. Get on to Nintendo. They're the ones with the stupid systems. So if you've ever had anyone, be it yourself or anyone has been affected by this that you know, or you've had any experience with it, let me know all that in the comment section below, because I'm curious to hear other people's bad experiences with it too. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, you can follow me on Twitter, details in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the rest of the videos in my channel. Once again, Happy New Year 2017 to everybody.